Bentornati su Vampyr o Vampire, non so come si legge, credo si legga Vampire. Però strano perché non è scritto Vampire, Vampyr, non so come, ma forse Vampyr scritto così con la Y è una variante della parola Vampire. Non saprei. Comunque per finirlo ci vogliono 2 run. Per farlo in una sola run bisogna creare dei salvataggi, delle robe, ma francamente a me non piace creare dei salvataggi su USB o su USB ancora, ma comunque vedo se mi avvicino molto al platino poi faccio la seconda run. Ah, tra l'altro c'è scritto nella guida che in modalità storia un trofeo non te lo dà, un trofeo che comunque casualmente appartiene poi all'altra run. Per quanto riguarda la pianta che vi avevo detto ieri, effettivamente c'è un trofeo anche riguardante quella pianta. E niente. Adesso comunque fino al capitolo 3 ci sono solo collezionabili, si va avanti tranquilli.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse. It's locked, all right.
Sembra un po' uno spacciatore Maranza. C'ha un po' dello spacciatore Maranza. Porta sul retro. Poi si deve prendere di qua, mi sa, no? Restate a casa, non ci posso credere. Poi del 2018 sto gioco, cioè Ha
I should
ha
investigate.
anticipato i
If they were
tempi,
to
proprio
find somebody,
una premonizione, veramente. Incredibile. Restate a casa. Mamma mia, non ci posso credere. Restate a casa. Porca puttana. Ah, qui sono scalle. Altri scale. Ora di qua si va avanti, ma io volevo esplorare ancora un goccio, che in teoria vorrei prenderlo sto platino, sempre molto in teoria, ma sto platino me lo vorrei portare a casa. Qua cosa c'è? Che cazzo ne so di dove sono entrato adesso? Il vecchio Obitorio, sono entrato al vecchio Obitorio. E però c'erano ancora un paio di cose da fare fuori, mi sa. Tanto qua. Adesso entriamo nel vecchio Obitorio. Questo non è il vecchio Obitorio. Questo che roba è? Questo è l'ospedale. Dai, facciamo sto capitolo 2. 6 capitoli dovrebbero essere. 6 capitoli per un totale di una ventina di ore, 25 ore. Poi contate che alla fine dovrò fare 2 run. Ma non so se lo platinerò perché dipende, se riesco al capitolo 6, se ho capito bene al capitolo 6 si può fare tutta una riassettata dei collezionabili. Se al capitolo 6 riuscirò a recuperare tutti i collezionabili in questa run, poi allora mi farò un'altra run e prenderò sto platino. Altrimenti se devo prendere i collezionabili no. No, perché c'è sto fatto che i collezionabili non si possono prendere in endgame. Quindi purtroppo è un
Balls
problema.
of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
Callo. Qua c'è un altro.
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. This key will surely grant me access to the basement.
Qua ce n'è uno.
I cannot enter.
Guarda. c'è un vampiro. Qua c'è un vampiro. Vabbè, andiamo allo scantinato. Che questo a quanto pare lo incontreremo dopo. Comunque è molto scuro, cioè è comunque un gioco horror, se andiamo a vedere. Non è proprio un gioco horror survival, però alla fine, cioè, elementi horror ne ha, un GDR horror, mettiamola così. Però è bello horror proprio. Tra l'altro ho letto su PlayStation Beat, gli sviluppatori sono gli stessi di Life is Strange, quindi è un gioco che ha avuto successo. Oh, stronzo. Poi ho letto sempre lì su PlayStation Beat che a un certo punto ci saranno cacciatori di vampiri che tenteranno ad ammazzarti. Ce n'è di roba, ce n'è.
It's locked. It's locked off. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this.
Comunque di solito i giochi horror non mi piacciono, però questo qua lo trovo valido. I giochi horror di solito mi inquietano troppo, non mi piacciono granché, ma questo qua, col fatto che sei bello forte, che sei tu il vampiro, diciamo, non è che non mi inquieta neanche così tanto, un po' mi inquieta, ma giusto. Questo è già più forte. No, sono in due. Ci vorrebbe un paletto di frassino.
These scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
Qua cosa devo fare? Crea siero rigenerante leggero. Formula enigmatica. Troppo lascioso. Qua posso anche Allora, ma come cazzo si cambiano le armi, per dire? Allora, le armi, eccole qua, principale, aceto usato, mettiamo faccia usata, tanto per iniziare. Secondaria, mettiamo lupara usata, revolver usato, lupara usato, paletto usato, da usare. Adesso non ho capito cosa devo fare, però. Allora, forse qua devo fare cammino di sangue. Anche questo. Fare un po' per la bronchite. Fiore sangue di cielo. Alcune cose non le capisco granché. Questo già... Oh no.
It's locked, all right. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So,
Non si legge niente, quindi
Dr.
non...
Tippett's
Cioè, bianco
anesthetics
su
were
bianco,
incorrectly
figurati come
dosed,
dovrei leggere.
causing the patient's death.
Non è che si può leggere
Then,
tutto nei
he tried to
videogiochi.
operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked.
Perché? Però in realtà io vorrei mettere Usciamo, evidentemente c'è da uscire. In realtà dici di entrare.
I met him in New York once.
If only there were more of us.
Good evening, sir.
Less resignation.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
$277 pezzi.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Yes, Doctor?
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Allora, le due.
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
I have other concerns right now, Doctor. But I'm fine, thank you.
Se facessi fascinazione.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest, then.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Questo in teoria era da fascinare. Questo in teoria
Good evening,
sarebbe
Mr.
da
Goswick.
fascinare.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Sarebbe da fascinare.
Do you need any help?
I'm afraid I may, sir. I don't mean to be a burden.
I will see you later. I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Troppe chiacchiere, troppe chiacchiere.
Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could
Veramente
not dare to
tantissimi
believe you'd have
dialoghi.
such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. You seem quite optimistic. It It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Questo qua lo abbracciamo, ragazzi.
All I wanted was to go back to work, to take care of my children.
Ve l'ho detto, questa facciamo la run super cattiva. Facciamo una strage. Però in realtà non sono ancora... riesco ancora...
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Fasciniamo anche questa. Ma non...
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if
non
you
capisco... Non capisco come fascinare la gente nei dialoghi. Qua mi dice che devo andare di qua. Però di qua non... O devo tornare nell'ospedale o se no devo fare ancora qualcosa nell'obitorio. Non saprei. Questo l'ho già visto. Proviamo ad andare di sopra, va. Questo. Non tossite in pubblico, minchia, ma sembra realmente una premonizione del Covid. Assurdo, è del 2018 sto gioco. Cioè nel 2018 il Covid è del 2019. Difatti Covid-19. Minchia, è incredibile sta cosa. Beh, poi ci sta che comunque in tutte le epidemie c'è sempre qualche cosa in comune, ma no, ma non devo entrare qua. Devo fare ancora qualcosa nell'obitorio.
of the glorious
Crea il
Victoria.
farmaco per la stanchezza. Devo creare il farmaco per la stanchezza. Non ci leggo poco. Cioè, sti cazzo di obiettivi, queste cose sono scritte troppo in piccolo per me. Cioè, alla fine io ci leggo poco. E così. Spero che adesso, settimana che viene, questa settimana prossima qua che viene, spero che mi faccia prendere sta televisione, così almeno ci leggo un po' meglio. Poi anche lì non è che prenderò una televisione a 2000 euro, però se solo fosse qualche pollice in più, magari leggerei un po' meglio. Non l'ho proprio letto, credo, il farmaco per la stanchezza, non riuscivo proprio a leggerlo. Ma qua sono di nuovo in ospedale. Uffa. A parte che il farmaco per la stanchezza lo potrei creare anche nel nascondiglio, però cioè, ho pensato che magari poi all'obitorio c'è ancora qualcosa da fare e quindi lo creo nell'obitorio. Il vecchio obitorio, sì però, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, sì però, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, sì però, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, sì però, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, il vecchio obitorio, sì però non mi ricordo. Ma che cazzo si deve passare qua? Di qua. Pareva che fosse di qua. Il vecchio obitorio. Il vecchio obitorio. Sì, però. Il vecchio obitorio. Minchia, ce l'abbiamo messo. Allora, farmaco per la stanchezza. Farmaco per la stanchezza. Farmaco per la stanchezza. Il farmaco per la stanchezza. Porta la medicina. Ecco, potevo rimanere anche in ospedale. Vabbè, anche se ne fotte. Vorrei vedere un po' ste armi però, perché secondo me questa qua ad esempio dovrei cambiarla con qualcos'altro, però non si può cambiare. Allora a questi punti cambiamo quella primaria. Quella primaria. invece la falce. La falce prende 2 mani, generalmente prende 2 mani. Che roba. Vabbè. Chiudiamo sto capitolo, ma ci sarà ancora un pezzetto da fare evidentemente. Ma sono capitoli abbastanza brevi comunque. Non è che sia un grosso problema. Comunque poi se dovessi fare la seconda run, che ripeto magari ho quasi tutti i trofei, mi dico vabbè facciamo la seconda run per fare questi trofei che mancano e prendiamo sto platino. Questo può darsi, però se faccio la seconda run secondo me sarà un po' più difficile perché devo aumentare la difficoltà, se no non mi danno il trofeo.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Cazzo è Dorothy? Dorothy Gaynor. Che cazzo è sta Dorothy? Sarà qua dentro.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Che cazzo sei?
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes, Nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls? When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Ecco, le malattie è già una cosa che dovrei studiare un po', però adesso non ho voglia. Tentazione al sangue. Ma c'è pieno di roba, cioè alla fine purtroppo se non riesco a leggere le scritte in piccolo, cioè sti giochi sono sempre scritti in piccolo, non lo so, pensano che la gente debba avere, cioè, 10 decimi, cioè crescendo uno perde anche, io avevo 10 decimi, per carità, o 9 decimi, non mi ricordo, però invecchiando uno comunque, cioè, ce li lascia un po' di diottrie, è inevitabile. Soprattutto se una persona, cioè, gioca tanto ai videogiochi, robe varie, sicuramente ci lascia delle diottrie.
I cannot enter.
Eccolo lì.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
I'm a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer. Tell me how this is a gift.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Vabbè, ma questo capitolo non finisce più. Scendiamo. Purtroppo mi sono messo dietro a sta cosa dell'obitorio molto lentamente, quindi ho speso un sacco di tempo per fare quello, che se no era già finito da mo'. Lady Ashbury è qua.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here.
Questa è una vampira.
Soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet lady of mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a vampire. The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury.
Alla fine questi due mi sa che finiscono a letto.
In spite of the brevity of our encounter.
You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient, or their family.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
You are aware that I too know the thirst for the scarlet nectar.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital.
Il nettare
My visits serve a
scarlatto.
dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Arriva. Dov'è sta crista qua, porco due? Sire di qua. Non c'è. Non capisco dove sia sta qua. Siamo di qua. No. Forse di qua. Vedete anche qua c'è influenza e pneumonia, cioè restate a casa. Ma non so se sarà uscito dopo il Covid, francamente, ma cioè, sembra veramente, cioè, se è uscito prima del Covid è impressionante, cioè proprio gli stessi termini, pazzesco, Oh, dice che è nell'ospedale, però è a 40 metri. Basta fare così, ti mette proprio.
Read with no respect. What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Stia zitta, minchia di cane.
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here. You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
Scusa, ma tutto lì, cioè, devo parlare con questa dell'indagine, tutto lì quello che è.
The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
Quindi non tutti hanno la Y sopra.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here to save lives.
Arrivo, eh? Mangio un bel cornetto.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
I can't say I'm thrilled to be working here. But to be honest, I didn't have much of a choice.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Vabbè, ma... Indietro.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Io adesso mi metterò una sigarettina. Sapete che a me piace fumare il tabacco. Una bella tabacchella. Ci sdrumiamo una bella tabacchella. Tanto alla fine non ci sono speedrun, non c'è un cazzo. Collezionabili ci sono, non sono tantissimi, però non sono un po' nascosti. Poi c'è sto fatto che arrivi a un certo punto che non puoi prendere le cose indietro. E quello è il fatto. A quanto ho capito, arrivi al capitolo 6 e una volta che finisce il gioco non puoi più, boh, è finito. Invece prima di finirlo al capitolo 6 forse puoi farti ancora qualche giretto. Allora, ce ne sono due con cui parlare, uno deve essere qua. Uno deve essere... non è questo. Il fatto è che questi si muovono pure. Pippa Awards. Pippa Awards era qua in zona.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
You're disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
That's la vita.
More determination.
I know I can count. I wish I could say the same.
Is our little mystery closer to being solved, Dr. Reed?
I think of nothing else, my lady.
My situation is delicate, and it occupies all my thoughts. The blackmail must stop. I need assurance.
Volevo presentarmi a sto morto vivente qua. Questo non ci può ancora parlare, questo è bloccato dentro. Ma porca troia.
Is our little mystery closer to being solved, Dr. Reed?
Dai, muoviti, cazzo, vai avanti. Levati di qua, levati.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You...
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. It's locked, all right.
Succede?
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke?
Che cazzo sta succedendo? Impazzito, che cazzo sta succedendo?
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you seen a strange man visiting any of the nurses here?
I've never heard of such a thing, Doctor.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Non so come usare la fascinazione. Tranquillità. Non si può fascinare.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Questa però è distante, quindi mi sa che è fuori.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals. Or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you.
Whitechapel, capitolo 3 sarà. Quindi adesso cosa devo fare? Ci sono dei caricamenti un pelino lunghi, eh? No, però è valido, è valido.
This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor.
Volevo prendere il trofeo dei topi. Però senz'altro topi ce ne saranno. Certo, per non mettere topi nelle fogne, eccoli qua. Allora andiamo prima di qua, va?
Are you injured, sir?
Help me get out of here. I need to get out.
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd be glad to help you, but you must calm down first. Please, take a deep breath and tell me your name.
Okay. I'm Oswald Thatcher. Please, I need to get out.
All right, Mr. Thatcher, you're safe now. Do you think you can reach the street by yourself?
Yes, I do.
Good. Now leave this place and enjoy the cool night air. It's quite invigorating. I'm sure you'll feel better if you do.
Questo in teoria potrei mangiarmelo, ma direi che per adesso non lo mangiamo questo. In teoria volevo mangiarmi qualche bella donna. Come da leggende i vampiri bevono il sangue delle donne, quindi in teoria volevo mangiarmi qualche bella donna. Però la stessa, dai. Facciamo Un altro topo. Trofeo dei topi, l'ho vinto. Qua c'è un boss. Cazzo, questo mi può annare, cazzo, questo fa male.
Here's what's left of him. Not a lot to check, but I should anyway. Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her.
Colonna sonora spettacolare, eh? Bella colonna, proprio colonna sonora valida, valida. Ma non so se si passa dalle fogne. Credo anche sì che si passa dalle fogne.
It's locked.
It's locked. Bastardo. Così fuori. Qua sono sottolivellati di brutto. No, ma mi sa che è meglio che vada a dormire. Qua sono sottolivellato e mi fanno secco. Mi fanno proprio secco qua.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Allora, lancia di sangue, sblocchiamola. Lancia di sangue l'abbiamo sbloccata. Poi direi coagulazione. Coagulazione non è neanche male. Condizione fisica. Poi prestazione fisica. Ok. Qualcosa a morso. Generazione veloce. Barriera di sangue. Ok. Bastano. Velo d'ombra. Velo d'ombra è ottimo. Prossimo velo d'ombra. Prossimo velo d'ombra. Supporta la luce. Generazione luce. E adesso sono a livello 10. Bene o male. Lo conferma. Adesso in teoria Whitechapel dovrebbe essere alla portata, però a sto punto io stacco perché voglio staccare un po' e voglio magari farmi una partita League of Legends, vediamo un po'. Non so come, non mi ricordo mai come si stacca. Allora così, torno al menu principale. Ok. Ragazzi, questo gioco lo porto almeno fino al 2 giugno. 2 giugno poi si attacca con Diablo e logicamente non ci sarà più tempo. Però, boh, anche... Cioè, vedo un attimo di finirlo e di fare anche il platino. Tanto credo che in 3-4 giorni a finirlo lo finisco. E poi vediamo per il platino come siamo messi, se si riesce a fare. Tanto lo so che a voi ve ne frega poco, mi seguite giusto per seguire una live, ma realmente non capisco il feticcio di queste persone che mi seguono senza commentare, che non capisco il feticcio, cioè seguire una persona così con sta assiduità sempre, proprio tutte le live, e non lasciare neanche un minimo commento, un ciao, ma non capisco sta cosa. Vi saluto ragazzi, ciao.